Hello, I'm Border and she's Goggles, and today we're going to be talking about the first Transformers series I ever saw. Not the first Transformers series she ever saw, because she's a whore. Anyway, I only saw this a month ago, so just so everyone knows, I'm very new to this fandom, as it is. So, if she says something and I disagree, she probably is right. Anyway.
Unless I'm wrong, which happens a lot.
Again, yeah. Who knows? It'll be up to you to decide, viewing audience. So, what we're going to do first is go really quickly through, today we're talking about the first story arc that occurs in the Transformers animated series. And we're just going to review the basic plot really, really quickly, and then we're going to talk in depth about various details. So, here we go. We meet the Autobots. They're Autobots. We meet the Decepticons. They're evil. The Autobots, they find this thing. It's called a Starspark. They're like, oh my god, Magical MacGuffin machine. They fly, they end up in Earth. One of the Decepticons betrays their leader. The Decepticon leader ends up getting blown up and then found by an Indian man who makes a giant robot empire based on this. Meanwhile, the Autobots are asleep for 50 years. Then the Autobots wake up to find Detroit, which is where they crashed right next to, being destroyed by a gigantic insect thing that one of the dumbass scientists of Detroit accidentally created. There are a lot of dumbass scientists in Detroit for some reason. They go there. They meet little girl. Little girl's like, oh my gosh! Allspark! Allspark's like, oh my gosh, gonna give you a magic key for no specified reason. Reasons! They're like, oh my gosh, hooray, hooray, everything's great because you saved Prowl. Prowl, he was dying for some reason. He's alive again. Then, Starscream finds out that they have the Allspark. Starscream wants the Allspark. They fight Starscream for the Allspark in a very drawn-out way. Then, Optimus Prime almost dies, but then he doesn't because of Little Girl and the magical key. Ta-da! Now, details. First, one thing that bugged me as a first-time viewer. It started off with a clip of the G1 series, and this confused me, because I didn't know much about the G1 series, but I did know that Ratchet, Prime, Bulkhead, Bumblebee, and Prowl were all in it. So I was confused as to whether or not they were, like, resurrections of the original characters, or whether they were different characters, or... I had no idea what was going on!
I, on the other hand, actually really liked that, because it was a nice little nod to the original and, you know, a nice nod to the older fans who had grown up with this. So it's understandable that can get very confusing, considering that Bumblebee and Ratchet are both in the clips.
Yeah.
So it's funny when Ratchet's like, oh, Dad, who you trying to curmudgeon, right after it shows a clip of him.
I just feel it could have been done better. But they do specify right after they show the clips that it's Optimus Prime, who is basically watching history videos, who wants to be a hero for some reason.
He's a bit Disney princess-like.
Yes, you can. Optimus Prime is very Disney princess-like. In fact, right after that, he's walking through the halls with Ratchet, and he's like, Ratchet, do you ever think you were programmed for something more?
We get a great line from Ratchet after that.
Ratchet's like, psh, I got a program which you can take care of that. But I mean, he's so Disney. I actually don't mind Prime in this version.
Yeah.
Because Prime is so boring in a lot of the other versions.
Like the current season, which we'll talk about later when we're actually talking about that series.
Prime, which is also
Aptly
called Prime. Yeah, but Optimus is usually such a boring character. I like that in this one he at least has something that makes him interesting. He's a young hero who wants to do great but has never been given the opportunity. That's at least somewhere to go. The other ones, he's basically God.
He is Jesus in the other ones.
It's okay.
Complete with the resurrections.
No, he's not. He's only resurrected in this one, ironically.
Yeah, but...
Anyway. Anyway, so, yeah, that bugged me. I can just picture Prime just running through the halls going, I want adventure in the great white somewhere! Ratchet throws a wrench at him and everything is silence.
Yes.
So, that's okay. I guess they could have made him interesting in less obnoxious ways, but at least they gave him something to make him interesting. He's a young leader.
They do make him more interesting, though, in that they give him, right away you see that he has a rivalry with Sentinel. Which is a bot that is higher up in the chain of command, which he apparently also used to be, but you don't get to really hear any of the story of that, except for little clips where they're kind of bickering back and forth about how Prime was apparently kicked out of it.
They mentioned he wasn't kicked out. He's still commanding bots. The thing is, right away they mentioned that Prime is what they call an academy bot, which meant he went to the the
He was
Academy for
Swedish,
Magical
huh?
Robots or whatever. he went to
Hogwarts.
No, he went to Hogbolts. He went to Hogbolts, and but which they make mention of specifically at the beginning. That's kind of odd because he's on a wrecking crew that are trying to repair these magical travel-y thingamabobs.
Space bridge.
Those
Bridge.
things. Those, right. So then they find the matrix of Allspark leadership or whatever.
The Allspark is like in this thing that looks like the matrix of leadership.
Not confusing at all. Actually, not confusing to me because I hadn't seen anything like it. I was like, shiny box, it must be the plot.
And on the other hand, I'm like, that looks like the Matrix! Oh wait, no it's not.
The Matrix! I don't know, Prowl acts kind of like the Matrix sometimes.
He does. If only he had like a trench coat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Another thing I like about the setup with this is that they are set up that they're a very new team, and they don't really know how to get along and deal with each other, and especially with Prowl, who doesn't understand the concept of working as a team.
I actually kind of dislike that side plot, and not because it isn't set up well. I do like the idea of having one of the characters who's like, man, because there's a side plot running the entire time where Prowl's all like, man, the only bot I depend on is me, except less sassily because he's not Jazz. He refuses to work as a team. He even refuses to take the orders of his commanding officer. But this ends up almost getting him killed. What bothers me about it is it's resolved kind of extremely quickly and is never brought up again. Prowl has never worked in a team before, and basically, like, all it takes is a near-death experience, and he's like, magically, I can work as a team now! There's no learning period. At least they don't show one. There's no period where he's, like, kind of confused and trying to figure out where he fits in. No, he's just instantly like, team time! Da-da-da-da-da-da. And I just felt it was too easy for that quick of a transformation. I mean, I understand that he did almost die, but he was also fixed, and there was no long-term repercussions to that.
What I like about the setup is that in every other series, you see that the team has been together for a long time already, and especially with Prime has been a commander for a really long time, which takes away a lot of development and personality from things, in my opinion.
And for bad writers, it might. I think Prime and other series could be developed. They just don't do it. Anyway, that's for another episode.
That's for another thing.
Right away, we see that Starscream is still Starscream. Starscream. So that's enjoyable. One thing I really like about this is that the Decepticons are a huge threat. Like, they can't, even with 3 Autobots, they can't take down Starscream.
Yeah.
Starscream is actually a threat in this series. All the Decepticons are threats. It's something to seriously be dealt with. Not something to be taken lightly and la-da-da. Like, yeah, in E1 that was good because it was a lot more cartoonish.
And there are a lot more characters and things.
In Prime, they don't do that very well because, like, there's 3 Decepticons that are named, and they never fight those. And then there's a bunch of, like, faceless minions which are about as easy to kill as weeds. You just sort of, like, stab them. Well, not weeds even, because weeds have roots that you have to, like, spray. No, they're sort of like individual ants that they just sort of run and smash at.
So,
like,
it really racks up the,
Wait, there's 5 named Decepticons. Sorry, I forgot about the Doctor and his assistant.
How do you forget about Knockout?
I don't know.
He's
just so sexy. I just think about him all the time. Oh, anyway. He's not actually sexy, because he's not a sexually reproducing being.
Okay.
So after a jump cut, because I messed up again, as I am wont to do, what was I gonna say? Sorry.
Sorry, I like Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, she's a good character.
Yeah, she's I think the only human companion I don't hate. Not that I particularly hated Wiki, actually. But she's the only human companion that's not a Mary Sue, but is not a Mary Sue in a way that is not stupid.
Though it still doesn't really make sense as to why she does, like, the kids do not like her. Human kids do not like her.
They have this weird running plot where Sorry, the daughter of the richest man in town, who is surrounded by awesome robots, is not liked by any of the children. She's a young woman who, not even a young woman, she's a little girl, she's an 8-year-old, surrounded by other 8-year-olds, who has a lot of money, and She's surrounded by cool robots.
For some reason, her dad homeschools her. Too.
There's no reason the other children wouldn't like her. Like, the only reason they give that they don't like her is, oh, she blows a bubble and it gets in her hair. She can't blow bubbles and bubble gum.
She's bad at
Sean.
Forget
Sean. It makes no sense, and it's only crowbarred in so that Bumblebee is her only friend.
It makes sense that she doesn't know a lot of kids because she's homeschooled, but it doesn't make sense why she has no friends.
No, it doesn't, because she clearly knows those kids, because her father invites them to her birthday party.
Does he?
Yeah, don't you remember there's a birthday party later on where she and Bulkhead get ditched?
Oh, no, I don't.
Whatever. Later on, it shows that she has a birthday party where they all come and they're like, oh, she's still too weird because she's got awesome robots.
This is too cool. My running theory is that...
Hey, this scrap, we're out of here!
My running theory is that all the kids are secretly controlled by that one soulless kid with no eyes.
There's one child where it's only like a black circle with white in the middle.
It's just, it's just
what the frick?
White.
Speaking of which, the character designs in this.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of all
the chins! Why? Why the chins?
Like
why?
Sentinel's chin. Sentinel's chin is
Sentinel's
like a
chin.
Optimus'
Optimus' chin. Bumblebee's chin is okay. Prime's chin is okay. Prowl's chin! Starscream's chin!
Chin is huge.
Why?
I don't know.
Why do they have giant chins? There's no reason for them to have giant chins.
Also, style choice.
Why does Prime have, like, model lips?
Those bothered me at first for a little while. And, this is a thing that actually a lot of people didn't give animated a chance because of the art style for a really long time. So...
Because it's like, why? Why do they not have chin? Or why do they have huge chins?
No, this is also a similar thing that happened in, like, a number of other series where people were just like, bring it down the bad hammer because I just don't trust this art or direction that this here series is taking.
I don't think that you should ban it, but it did bother me.
Yeah.
It just bothered me. I don't know why.
It didn't bother me so much
weird.
either, though it did get put off by it at first. A lot of the human designs, there's
I like
kind of
Sari's design.
Kind of like,
I like Sari's design because she's kind of adorable. She's got like this big face and like these big eyes and this big mouth. Especially when she's like, there's a slow-mo moment in the first arc, in the first 3 episodes, which is the first story arc, where like she's like, Bumblebee! Only like she never actually closes her lips, so it's like, oh, and it's like gigantic and comprises her entire face. It's really adorable, but really stupid.
They did really good character designs for the main human characters that are in the show, but some of the background characters kind of like, you look weird.
Now, the main characters, were they introduced well?
I thought they were introduced pretty well.
Yeah. I thought they were introduced. You sort of got an idea for each of them.
Yeah.
Although Bulkhead didn't get much character development until later.
He really didn't.
He was just sort of like, here's the fat guy, booper-dooper.
He's funny because he's fat. That's kind of his thing for the first while.
You sort of get the idea about Bee and Prowl and Ratchet and Prime really well, actually. So, other than Bulkhead, but Bulkhead doesn't really get character development until later anyway.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's about what I had to say about the first story arc in animated. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that it definitely establishes all the characters really well. A number of the Decepticons are really shoved in there quickly so that they can get a little bit of face time so we know that they're there. But
which is especially odd for Black Arachnia because she's later not really part of the team.
Yeah, later on you don't ever see her except for maybe once or twice with the other Decepticons.
Yeah, it's like she's not even really a Decepticon in this version because her backstory involves her being around after the Decepticons have already been driven out of Cybertron.
We'd be spoiling her entirely.
It's not a spoiler. Anyway. So yeah, that's pretty much. I liked it. The things that I didn't like were the fact that Prowl's random side plot got fixed too easily. I feel. I mean, even though he almost had a life and death situation, there's no like adjustment period where he's like, I'm becoming part of a team. He's just like, I'm not part of a team. Oop, no, I am. And the clip at the beginning confused me. Because it was confusing and stupid. And so were you. So were you, viewing audience.
Oh, I thought you were talking to me for a second.
You too, Goggles. Meh.
Well, why are you
Final thoughts?
me?
Final thoughts?
Anyways. Final thoughts. This is a good start to the season. If you want to actually buy that on DVD, though, it's a separate disc and it's a separate thing entirely. So I guess that's it.
Okay, Goggles. Well, that was the somewhat okay first episode that we've ever recorded. Don't worry, guys, we'll get funnier as time goes on.
Yes.
We really need to get in the swing of things.